Hey guys, this is Finance Ease, and you're listening to Finance Ease podcast series. I'm your host Himanshu Jain. In this podcast, we are going to have a real chat with industry experts on investments, markets, and macro analysis. Also, young finance enthusiasts who are bringing change to the industry and how their career unfolded in the world of money management. All are going to be our guests. Stay tuned. In our podcast today, we have a special guest with us, with whom I personally wanted to have a chat with. She is one of those women who has been phenomenal in all of her endeavors. Her abilities know no boundaries. There is also one more reason why I invited her as one of our earlier guests on the show. Because she sets an example for our younger audience who is ambitious and has aspirations in making a career in the financial world. Her academics have been a journey of nothing but sheer determination and converting each opportunity into a successful story. She graduated from SRCC, did CA along with CFA, and cleared all of those exams in the first attempt. In fact, she has been an All India rank holder in CA IPCC. Her professional journey has been a different successful story altogether. She has worked with multinationals, you name it, Deloitte, General Electric, Clicks Capital, Accenture, and she is currently working with MasterCard as a consultant. It is fascinating to witness such accomplishments at such an early age. We are delighted to have Mrs. Shubhangi Jain as a guest on our podcast today. Hi Shubhangi, thanks for joining us today.
And I'm flattered, really.
Yeah, how have you been?
I'm great. How are you? Especially in this COVID.
Yeah, I'm just been pleasured having your presence on the show. Shubhangi, I have known you
Thank
for a
you so
long
much.
time and you have inspired me. I have been wanting to talk to you for a long time, and this podcast has given me that chance. Will you please share your story with us?
So, from story perspective, Himanshu, actually, my story started when I actually wanted to do something called business, Bachelor of Business Studies. I'm not sure if the audience has known about it. So, it was a course, pre-management course, which was designed by Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies. I always wanted to do that after my plus two, and I cracked that with good number. I mean, I got 54th rank, but still, then I got a chance to join SRCC, so I went with that. And then I would say then actually my story started. So I was saying that then when I joined SRCC, then I decided that I would do CA instead because it has more, deeper knowledge of all the finance concepts. So I joined CA then, and then it all started.
Okay. You were a brilliant student, okay? And when you entered commerce stream, every commerce student has that plan. He has to do CA or CS and something like that. You planned after entering the college. How did that happen?
As I said, I was not really looking forward to do CA if instantly. So in my commerce, when I joined commerce stream in class 11, I always wanted to do that BBS course, and that was also a very niche course, and only some 93 candidates or so were selected. So CA was never really my goal then.
And you
But
aced
then when
it.
I joined college, yeah. But then
That
when
too
I joined
important.
college, then I decided that I would do it.
And you aced like you did it in first attempt. That is brilliant. And we know that CA and CFA are a tough nut to crack. I mean, everybody knows that. Like I said, you aced both exams. How did you manage both, and how you kept yourself motivated? Please share us a little.
So Himanshu, actually, it's not about being motivated. When you actually want to do something, this the motivation comes from within. So I did not really do anything, special to keep myself motivated. Though I made sure that I take small breaks in between. I sometimes used to just go for movies or things like that over the weekend. So I never did more than, I guess, 15 days in a stretch. I always took small breaks in between, and that was kind of my rejuvenation uh, from the normal routine life.
Okay. And some students, some really rare students say that it was easy for them. It was a butter situation. Did that happen to you? That was it difficult at any point of time that yeah, I'm getting exhausted and things like that?
People say that it's easy after they crack it, right? So,
Yes, yes, right, right.
but you always have to put a lot of effort in doing so. Not because the concepts are difficult, it's because it needs persistency.
Yeah.
So, if you are persistent, you would feel that you are getting everything, and that's when you start to realize that it's all easy. But still, I would say that efforts are never compromised. You will have to put long hours, no matter what people say. So whenever you have to crack an exam, it's of such a magnitude, you will have to put hours and efforts to it. There's no second thought about it.
If I may ask, how these exams helped you to grow personally and professionally?
So as a whole, Himanshu, if I have to say in one word, these exams do nothing more than discipline. So they bring discipline in your life. Like if you want to, ask about the overall level, how they help me professionally and as well as personally. So the most important contributor by them is discipline, because you stay focused always for any of the tasks which are given to you. So yeah, I mean that's the major contributor in my life for these from these exams.
So these exams helped you to learn discipline and perseverance. Yeah, you showed that.
Yeah.
And
Yes, of course.
I mean, our younger listeners who are in CA or CA pursuing these courses shall learn that, say, persistence and discipline are necessary ingredients for your success. All right.
Yeah, and not only for exams, Himanshu. Actually, they're necessary for success in all phases of life, like be it personal or professional. So it's not exams specific per se.
Totally agree. I totally agree. Shubhangi sounds like true magic. Because Shubhangi, I was going through your profile, which is impressive, by the way, I must say. You are currently working
Thanks.
as a consultant at MasterCard. What are your day-to-day responsibilities like?
So at MasterCard, it's not really day-to-day responsibilities. What happens is you're given a project, which is usually uh, almost always different from your previous project, and then you're given a deadline, say of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you have to complete that project within that time. So it's not that you have to clock 8 hours and complete that much time in that day. You have complete 3 weeks say of time, and you have to complete the whole project in that time. So it doesn't matter whether you clock 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 14 hours a day. It's totally up to you.
So, is it a single person project or a team-based projects you work on, and what are the competencies required for it?
So usually it's a single person project. So there is a single consultant who majorly does all the groundwork, and then there is a manager, of course, who supervises and asks for regular updates. So that is a usual team structure. But yes, if there is a big project, then there is a team involved. But even if there is a team involved, we are almost always given our individual responsibilities.
All right.
So you can say that it's a single person role altogether.
That is brilliant. And your profile at MasterCard, you have the work is like data analytics. CFA did not cover it up till now. It recently introduced in the last year. So how
Mhm.
did you learn analytics part that CFA did not incur, that you are working with Python, PySpark, and many other applications?
So honestly, Himanshu, these tools like Python or even PySpark or any other analytical tool, it's usually just a medium to get to an end result, right? So what I in my personal case, I learned all of them on the job. So when I started at Clicks, that was my first company which gave me this opportunity to work in analytics department. Then I just started getting these projects. I requested my manager that I would want to do that, and luckily she was kind enough to give me a pilot project. And then I kind of researched a lot. I did some online courses, and then I created a summary, or you can say a dashboard, which she liked very much. In fact, that went up to CEO level at that time.
That's
So
great. That's
at
great. Really great.
so yeah, and from there this journey started really. And then after that, all is history. I just learned everything which I have learned on the job.
So
So
if one wants to learn on the job these tools and application which are really the requirement of in the current environment and in the future also, so that shall not bring any hesitation in the if one wants to learn, right?
of course, learning can never be an hesitation. People should always open to learn.
Okay, after CA, you could have gone to taxation, audit, investment research, why strategy and analytics. Were you exploring
So
something?
yeah, so the sweet and simple answer, Himanshu, to this is that nowadays analytics is everywhere. Even if you're doing finance, you would have to use these analytical tools one way or the other, and sooner the better. So I figured that these tools are the future, and in most companies it's the present, in fact. So that was a major motivation that I thought that I'll start with this only.
Yeah, in fact, I've been reading a report that it will change everything. It will change decision making for portfolio managers, traders, and how fast the data is coming and computational skills have been increased largely. So that will help. And students have at this stage that we have very limited idea of how they apply. So will you give a little brief about it?
What happens in finance is that usually, say for example, if you're doing any valuation model, so 80% of your time would just go in computing these values, right? Only 20% of the time would actually go in the decision making, that whether you would want to go with that, say a new product, or whatever valuation you're doing. So that 80% is basically being automated by these tools. And by doing so, the decision making becomes really simple, because that time is has gone to computers, and the the main work, which is of analyzing those results, is only left with the decision maker. So as a portfolio manager, uh, their lives have become very easy because of these tools, if they actually apply these tools. But right now it's at a very nascent stages. So even if you talk about algorithm trading, that is very less in proportion to the normal trading which we do. So so it will take some time for these tools to take over, but certainly that is the future, is what I feel.
I read a report. It researched that in nearby times, job of a portfolio manager and trader will only be a one-person job because the work from home situation and computational skills, as I mentioned earlier. Do you see that trend coming in India anytime near?
Absolutely, Vansh, that since these tools are taking over, it might take some time, but of course, the major computational work which is done by portfolio managers till now will be taken over by these tools. So that is a certainty, and that's why I always say that we should never hesitate to learn and upskill
Absolutely.
ourselves, yeah, at all times.
So that will increase efficiency and help portfolio manager to totally take their focus towards decision making, right? So
Correct,
that
yeah.
will increase efficiency, right? That's correct. That is totally. And what else
Mhm.
do you see? What lies ahead in the future for finance, for the making as a career and also a professional world? What do you see?
So, Himanshu, actually, I see that going forward, there won't be any, distinguishment as such, between finance and these technical tools. So, as we already know that CFA has already incorporated these analytical studies into its curriculum. So I think that in most of our studies, these will be, amalgamated together in the coming future.
They are recruiting, trading firms are recruiting more of computer science engineers rather than
Yes.
professional finance. That is a different future we see if we compare it to the past decade. Okay, Shubhangi, last question I will ask that if you may give some advice to a younger listener, because this podcast has an objective to give them something to look forward to what lies ahead.
So
Yeah.
my advice to young people as well is that, you continue what you want to do. If you want to, say do analytics, just do that. You don't block down into the fact that you have done commerce till now and you don't want to, change your stream or things like that. It's always better to upskill yourselves at every time. And as I said, that I see that these two fields are going to be amalgamated in the future. It's always better to be ahead of the curve. So my advice would be that keep sharpening your finance concepts, but simultaneously take some of these courses together.
So you are asking them to keep learning at every time because competition is stiff,
Yes,
and also the required skills will only take you far in your career, right?
right.
I must say, Shubhangi, this podcast has enabled me to exchange ideas between someone who is really working in the industry. And this podcast has been awesome with you and has already motivated us to keep the good talk with such exciting personalities. I cannot thank you enough for your presence.
Thank you, Himanshu. Thanks for having me.
And that's a wrap up from our very first episode in the Finances podcast series. Thanks for listening to Finances podcast. You can share the podcast with fellow listeners and do follow us for more. Stay tuned.